Hey, what is going on, crypto people? I didn't know if I was live or not. Happy Generational Wealth Wednesday to each and every one of you. So listen, it's Generational Wealth Wednesday. Is it time to get back? Is it time to return to the Bitcoin standard? And what exactly is the Bitcoin standard? What the heck is Satoshi preservation? No, what is it? Preservation of Satoshi valuation that Benjamin Cohen likes to use. What is that? What exactly does that mean? We're going to get into that a little bit. We're going to get into why Simon Dixon says, don't think of your Bitcoin in terms of dollars. Think of your Bitcoin in terms of numbers, in terms of units. What exactly does that mean? Got a question for you as well. Before I go over these numbers, what does it look like to have held Bitcoin in 2017 at around $20,000 and held to today, as opposed to Ethereum at, let's say, what, $700, $800 to today, and XRP to today, if you held, right? If someone unfortunately bought Bitcoin at around 19,000 or around 17,000 and held to today from 2017. If someone got in Ethereum at kind of around that all-time high, was it $700, $800, we'll get into it, and held to today, would they be better off? And XRP as well, would they be better off? And if they're up, how much so? I think I mentioned this on the channel 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm going to mention it again. I said, I remember thinking back in 2016, late 2016, early 2017, everything was around, everybody talked about, and this is when we were into these high yield investment platforms. Everyone was talking about, yeah, we're doing this to get more Bitcoin. The idea was we're doing this to get more Bitcoin. So we're getting these things, and these were high yield. They were just 99% Ponzi's. They were just crazy. But we're doing this and earning 2% a day in interest so that we can get more Bitcoin. And then the 27, everything was about getting more Bitcoin. And so we had that stupid BitConnect. We had high yield investment platforms. We had USI Tech. All of these things were around getting more Bitcoin. And then the 2017 thing happened. And I feel like the shift became just get as many altcoins as you possibly can. It was all about the altcoins because altcoins were rising. They were rising more in price than Bitcoin. Right? You guys remember that? I don't know if you were around in 2016, 2017, and things started shifting. And I started thinking about this like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Why is it that the vast majority of people that got in 2017, 2018, 2020, why are the vast majority of people not winning in crypto or quote unquote missed the run or quote unquote lost everything that they had kind of deal? Not from hacks and all that kind of stuff, but the value wasn't the same, right? Why is it? And I've been listening to Benjamin Cohen from Into the Cryptoverse for a while now, but just listen to his videos. He's always talking about Bitcoin dominance, and he keeps using this phrase. He keeps saying we need to get back to preserving the Satoshi valuation, preserving our Satoshi valuation. And it's one of his videos here recently, he kept talking about, he keeps comparing how well altcoins are doing to Bitcoin. It's always altcoins versus BTC, altcoins versus BTC. In any of his examples. So in anything that he kind of thinks about, whatever, it's kind of that. And I'm like, like what is, why does he keep doing that, et cetera, et cetera. Then one moment in the video, he just went to 2017 and picked Bitcoin. And he said, well, if you had Bitcoin and if you held it till today, but he picked around the all-time high. Okay, that's interesting. Bitcoin around the all-time high, as opposed to holding Ethereum around the all-time high, as opposed to holding XRP around the all-time high, which actually happened in 18, and then that happened in 17. And it got me thinking, why was he doing that? And why was he saying that? Right. So I just kind of started doing my homework myself, and I just looked at the number, and I'm just going to share the numbers with you. And he just turns out that he's right. Right. He turns out that he's right when you look at the numbers. And I think the reason why I titled the video the way I titled it is returning to the Bitcoin standard is if we go back to that idea of getting more Bitcoin, value-wise, we will be better off. And I think what happened to a lot of us, just kind of the same way that when we were in the high yield investment platforms, the HYIPs, we kept looking at the percentage gains a day. I mean, it was 1% all the way up to 7% a day. And then we got enamored with the move in the altcoins, right? The move in the altcoins. And there was no strategy for preserving what we had earned in the altcoins. And one of my greater examples is, we had that big win in Matic, right? Less than a penny, 0.003 to 0.008, whatever. And I remember I was talking with our insurance guy, and I had said to him, I said, yeah, we had some nice runs, some big stuff. But I said to him back then, this is years ago, I said, but we put all our winnings back into altcoins. We put all our winnings back into altcoins. And then we had these massive bear runs, 3 and 4 year bear runs, and I guess when I was talking to him, it was probably like the first year, maybe year and a half of the bear. And I just remembered that was a mistake. Here's the challenge going on with people like Benjamin Cohen, Safadine, people like who's the other Bitcoin guy who wrote a book? It's not Safadine Almos, it's the other guy. I can't remember his name. But anyway, a lot of those guys, when they either doing TA or they're teaching, they're coming from a perspective of an OG Bitcoin holder. In other words, when they're teaching and or training and providing advice, they're talking to the 1% of 1% in the digital asset space. They're talking to people with hundreds to thousands of Bitcoin. Their perspective is it's all from that. Hundreds to thousands of Bitcoin. And I thought to myself, it's not the right. What they need to teach is people to get to those numbers, right? And I think I did a video where I said most people in the digital asset space do not have 3 Bitcoins, 3 whole Bitcoins, and 100 Ethereum. Right? I think it's very, very true. Most people don't have 3 Bitcoin or 100 Ethereum. So we have to get back to that Bitcoin thing. And when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me, right? Why does Simon Dixon of Bank to the Future, big time Bitcoin OG, I mean, big time Bitcoin OG, why does he keep saying in all his trainings and all his videos, he says, stop thinking of the value of the Bitcoin and start thinking in terms of having more Bitcoin tomorrow than I have today, having more Bitcoin 1 week from now when I get paid than I had the week prior. Having more Bitcoin. Why does he keep saying that? Right? And so you combine that with Benjamin Cohen's video that I just watched. He talked about Bitcoin dominance, and he gave this example of Bitcoin. And so I just kind of Googled it. I'm going to just share some of the Google numbers, let you kind of do the math. and kind of come to your own conclusion. Kind of come to your own conclusion. And here's, I'm going to share some, I'll share the screen. Because I think, Pookie, I think we have become too enamored with altcoins. And here's the other thing as well. Another thing that Simon Dixon says, and I'm like, you and Benjamin, you keep talking this thing, but you're talking to yourselves. You're talking to the 1% of 1%. You're not talking to the masses, right? Because Simon Dixon says, just, have more Bitcoin than you had before, right? Or dollar cost average and just have more Bitcoin. Well, here's the challenge. You're telling people to take their dirty, nasty fiat, right? Right. You and find some spare and or extra dirty, nasty fiat and get more Bitcoin. Here's the challenge, right? If you listen to Raoul Pal, you realize that inflation is killing everyone's income. Their incomes are not rising to even meet inflation as much as never mind surpass it. So you're telling people to use any kind of spare, dirty, nasty fiat they get and just buy Bitcoin. Well, think about that. How much Bitcoin are they ever really going to have if that's the route only? How much Bitcoin are they really going to have? If you take your spare, nasty, dirty fiat and you just buy Bitcoin, it's being debased. The dollar is being debased by the central banks and government, at least 15% a year, if you believe Raoul Pal. So how are you winning? How are you getting ahead? How are you getting ahead? And my thing is now we got to teach people to get back to the Bitcoin standard in terms of the goal being get more Bitcoin by leveraging the altcoins. We want to get more Bitcoin by leveraging alt seasons until now it's hugely important. I'm going to go into more detail about the strategy that I've been thinking about until the market, the real big wheel, until the market changes from the speculative and speculation market that it is and has been since the inception of Bitcoin, until it changes until the real world utility market. But we're not at that. We're still in the speculative and speculation market. But let me share some examples of Bitcoin, just for some examples, and we can all kind of do the math together. So I just am Googling, right? Just a little Googling. This is Ethereum. But where's the Bitcoin one? All right, let's just Google Bitcoin for 2017. And we can look here and see. But oh, yeah, here it is here. I mean, we can go Bitcoin here and we can do max and we can go to 2017 if we want. Here it is. You can see a bunch of numbers, 16,865 in December. I think at one time it got as high as $18,174 in December. So you got a couple of numbers there. So I just went with a kind of a mid thing. So let's just, let's not do 11,000. At one time, Bitcoin was like 11,000 in 2017. Okay. Historic numbers for Bitcoin, right? One time it was $11,000. And it got as high as I think 19,000 and $19,748, right? So I use 17.5 as kind of like, okay. So let's say someone didn't buy at the peak at nearly 20. And they didn't buy at 11. They bought, let's say, 17. Let's pick the average number for the average retail person kind of getting Bitcoin at $17,000. And they just held it. Like the dude I ran across in the gym who put $100,000 into Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it went down off to 10,000, but he held it for the next, whatever time, and now it's back to 100,000, right? It's just back to 100,000 when Bitcoin hit 60 something. I wish I can't find these numbers right now, but I'm going to use $17,500, right? 17,000. So it got up to nearly 20,000, and I just showed you on the chart 11,000 was a number as well. I'm trying to find that where I was reading it. Past 10,000 or here it is right here. So an all-time high of 19,783, and before it went to 11,000 in the month of December. So it got up to $19,783 in December 17th. But it dumped down to 11,000 in the same month. So I'm going to go 17,500. Because you know how a lot of people like to come in and kind of, they're always kind of buying around the high. So I'm going to do 17,500. And if you take 17,500, for example, and you say, what is Bitcoin's price today of 63 or 64? Bitcoin is like 67,000 right now. Goodness gracious, it went up more. It's $67,000 right now, right? So 17.5, how many X is that? If someone was unfortunate to buy Bitcoin at 17.5 to today's prices, right? Let's do a little calculation. Is that 4X? 3.5X? All right, it's 3X is 52.5. So let's do 0.5, 61. Not quite 4. I know it's not quite 4. Quite 4. 4X is 70,000. Did we reach 70,000? I believe that we did. Do we want to say 70? Because it got as high as 73. So let's do 70. And let's just say that's a 4X, 400%. Right? Bitcoin is a crypto. So is Ethereum. And so is XRP. So this person, for some reason, I don't know, they bought at the all-time high. They got totally out of the market, completely frustrated with the fact that they got at the all-time high. And if they looked up today or a week and a half ago, they would be up 400% on the money. Now, a lot of people in the space, right? 400%. Let me get back to the chat. And welcome some people into the stream. A lot of people in the altcoin space would be like 400%, right? 400%. What? 400% with alt seasons? That's nothing, right? What's going on, Dano? See, Pookie's in the building. Like I've always said, ETH may be too big to fail, but someone's going to jail. What's going on, Big Bugs? Big Buzz checked in. Appreciate you checking in. Michael McKeezy is in the building. How are you, my friend? Right? 400%. What do you think happened to people who did the same thing, same scenario, and were into Ether? Same scenario, but instead it was Ethereum. Price of Ethereum in 2017, $798 to $881. So it was as high as $881. So let me share that. Just as some food for thought here, make you think about something for a second. Is this Benjamin guy right? Is this Simon guy right? And we're just not understanding exactly what it is that they're saying. Is this what they're talking about when they talk about preserving the Satoshi valuation? So take Ethereum. So if Ethereum is $881 was the all-time high in December, of 2017? What would be a good number? Let's say someone didn't get at the high. Would it be 600? 550? Let's say 550. Right? Let's say 550 bucks. And today's Ethereum price, I'm gonna do 550. Not exactly at the all-time high of 881, do 550. And they held it. Unfortunately, they were whatever. Got this, they kind of got in, kind of the all-time thing, got all these bear markets going on. They can't take it. They just leaving it in cold wallet. 550 to today's prices of 35.25. That's 7x, 700%. 550. Yeah, close to 7. Oh, it's about 6.5. It's about a 6.5x. 6.5x. What do you think if we did the same thing for other altcoins, the percentage would be? If we did it for XRP, we got to try to find some OGs. Ain't a whole lot of maybe Litecoin, right? If we did it for XRP and Litecoin and maybe Cardano, what do you think the return on the money would be? Ethereum is 7. Bitcoin was 4. What's the better hold? What's the smarter move? The notion apparently is Ethereum is more risky. What do you think might happen if there is really an investigation? If there is really an investigation, we'll see if they're going to look into this foundation, or have JP Morgan line the pockets of the super PACs and Congress people enough to make that investigation go away. Have they done enough to make it go away? That's the question, Pookie. We're going to find out about that. So we're saying a 4x for Bitcoin, 400%. Ethereum, if you just held it, you would be up 650% for just holding it, right? But if you know how they say it's kind of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then it's everything kind of else. If you did it for XRP in 2017, I wouldn't be good because XRP didn't really do anything until 2018 at $3. And we got all kind of numbers for XRP, don't we? Right? We got 330, we got 364, we got 384. Right? But if we did the same thing for XRP, we would be down a ton. If we Googled Cardano in 2017, I don't think I can do ADA. That probably won't work. Cardano in 2017. Let's see. To today. Let's see if we can't find something. Let's just look at CoinGecko. Let's put Cardano in here. And my whole point to this is we have to change the strategy. It's something about the strategy that is failing us. It's not the altcoins that's failing us. It's the strategy. So let's see if let's go max. Well, Cardano did $3 and something, but that wasn't in 2017. That was 2021. Cardano is even, yeah. 60 something cents was that's 18. 40 something cents. So like 60 cents for Cardano. And today Cardano is 64 cents. Do you see what I'm saying? The better wealth preservations in terms of getting the asset and holding the asset is Bitcoin and Ethereum. The challenge is the strategy. Right? The challenge is your strategy. Right? That's right. An investigation means they're looking into something, doing something about it is a different thing. So I would argue with you that it's the strategy. And unfortunately, when you hear from people like Scott Melker or Anthony Pompliano or freaking Mike Saylor or Simon Dixon or Benjamin Cohen, is they're talking to the 1%, I would argue, of the 1% in the digital asset space. So returning to the Bitcoin standard, if you will, has to have a strategy to it. And it feels very much so because blockchain backer goes into a strategy, but he doesn't. Like I have his course, I promoted his course, tons of people got his course because I was promoting his course back in the day. I feel like he says a strategy because he kind of mixes stuff up because he says he's completely out, but then he says, I'm selling 65%. So it's kind of like, that's not the same thing. Being completely out is being completely out. Selling 65% and holding 35% is not being completely out. It's not being completely out. So if I just share with you those numbers from merely holding it, how do we leverage a couple of things? Number one, like Raoul Paul was saying, Raoul Paul said, look, we're in this age of multiple streams of income, right? Your job income's not keeping up, right? You got any income, any extra money that you got going on, it's being debased by 15%. You pay your taxes before you get paid. And then every time you go out and live life, you pay more taxes. So the idea of trying to catch up in terms of preserving your wealth in Bitcoin, it's not enough dollars, right? It's just not enough dollars there. So, like Raoul Paul is saying, everybody's answer ultimately is going to become owning digital assets. But how do we leverage it in a way that's correct? And my thing is, here's another way of putting it. Since the vast majority, and I'm not going to ask anyone here to tell me, since I believe the vast majority listen to YouTubers and listen wherever in crypto have less than 3 Bitcoin and less than 100 Ethereum, how do we make up for that? Right? How do we make up for it? We have to have a portfolio of altcoins, right? That makes sense. But then when you do have these portfolio of altcoins, Michael Marchese says, I have neither. When you do have these altcoins, right, what do you do after they win Moon? I gave a personal experience example myself of what I did. And if you have the courage to say so, you can. You don't have to if you don't. But did you do like I did with VeChain, with EGLD, with Matic, Polygon Matic? Did you take those gains and put it back into alts? And how is the portfolio looking having done that? Did you see your portfolio go from 750,000 and just go down? I made the mistake of reinvesting those winnings into alts, thinking we were just going to keep kind of having this thing. No real strategy. Vast majority reinvested. Did anyone, I can personally say I did not plan on a 4-year bear market. I did not plan on that. I did not expect that. What's going on, Rafi? I always appreciate you tagging me, man, and keep me updated on the stuff's kind of going on, right? So maybe, and I know this is what we're going to do. When Moon from these alts, we're going to take a certain percentage into stables and a certain percentage into wealth preservation assets. Well, what are the wealth preservation assets? Wealth preservation assets in crypto right now. In other words, portfolio wealth preservation. So let's say you have 10 altcoins, freaking wind moon happens, and now because of the wind moon, you have $100,000. At the peak, it's the mid to late 2025, and you gotta, I'm just using round numbers. You got $100,000. What's the strategy? It feels, and again, the strategy I'm thinking in my brain, this strategy is because we're still in a speculation market that having stable coins, a certain percentage of that 100,000 in stable coins, a certain percentage of that 100,000 in Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let me ask it another way. Would wealth preservation reside in holding, and I'm just using this asset, there's no particular reason, XRP, and not having stable coins and not having Bitcoin and Ethereum? That would not have worked well because we just showed the numbers. $3.30 to current price. So it feels like, again, this is until the market changes to a utility market. And we all know that in the utility market, feels like you want to have a bunch of XRP held, a bunch of XLM held, a bunch of FLR held, right? The utility stuff. But we're not in those markets yet. And if 50% is in stable coins and 50% is in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and Bitcoin and Ethereum is going to give you a 4 to 6.5x. This is after the bull run. This is after the bull run. Holding Bitcoin and Ethereum is going to give you a 4 to 6.5x. That is better preservation than we all know that all these cryptos lose all the stuff. So we got to have a strategy to maintain the wealth through the bear market. Stable coins give us the maintenance, if you will, right? 50% of 100,000, 50,000. If you don't spend it, it's going to be 50,000 when it comes to bear bottom of the bear market where you can buy altcoins, right? Still going to be 50 grand. The other 50 grand is in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And it looks like we're talking 2017 to 2024, 6+ years. It looks like you're going to get a 4x roughly on your Bitcoin. And it's not over yet, by the way. And a 6.5x current numbers on that 50,000, on the other 50,000. You see what I'm saying? So I believe 1,000% we have been right to be in the altcoin market, but the strategy has been wrong because we forgot about that Bitcoin standard. We forgot about what was preached every single day in 2016, early 2017, before the alts did their thing. Man, we're doing this just so we can get more Bitcoin. Man, we're doing this just so we can get more Bitcoin. Real Big Will says, I'm selling no XRP, not one. And Even at 27 bucks, I hear you, brother. I hear you. This is what it's feeling like to me. This is what it's feeling like. And maybe you add on to the strategy. I don't know. Again, I don't know. Like, if you got altcoin wins, how much of the altcoins are you selling in the bull run? 65%, 85%, 100%. Like, some people are going to keep their XRP no matter what. Are you doing that with a meme coin, though? Are you doing it with a meme coin? And if you hold an XRP and you got 20,000 in XRP today, and when it reaches $27, you got $300,000 in XRP. What are you doing then? What are you doing then? I think this is something that really have to sit home with a significant other and think about. Because it's not our fault that the market does what it does. It's not our fault that the market is still in the speculation, in the speculative space. Do you have other altcoins in the portfolio to offset the loss from $300,000 from 20,000? Because you're waiting for a better price on that asset. Which is the strategy? Raoul Paul talks about you got to create a lifestyle bank. He says buy and hold, but you got to have a lifestyle bank. I like the way he puts that. How much of that 20,000 to 300,000 do you take for your lifestyle bank? A lifestyle bank is basically, the way I look at a lifestyle bank is something obviously you talk with significant other about. And like after this alt season, how much money do we want to just have to put over here? It's off to the side and we can do some things that we want to do. Maybe it's a little bit more traveling. Maybe it's another car. Maybe it's a whatever. And my definition of a lifestyle bank is enough money put aside that the bear market is not stressing you out, right? Because we're going to go through 3.5 years to 4 years of a bear market. That's a fact. So if we're going to go through 3.5 to 4 years of a bear market before we get some kind of alt season, how are we going to prepare for this next 3.5 to 4 years after this bull run? The thing that we don't want to do is to say, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done this. I should have whatever. They talk about taking profits all the time, but what does it mean? What does that really look like? Do you have a number for your lifestyle bank? Is it 100,000? Is it 200? Is it 300? Is it $500,000? Is it $1 million? What is your, do you have enough altcoins to get to $1 million? And if you do, are you holding the alts? Your portfolio is $1 million now. What are you doing? It's $1 million. What are you doing? And that includes your XRP. What are you doing? How are you filling the lifestyle bank? If you got, I know what you're going to do with a meme coin. You got a meme coin and it won in the bull run. You're selling that, right? That's easy. So let's say that's 50,000. What are you doing with the other 990? What is it? 990, whatever. 50,000. 9.9 mil. What are you doing with that? 9.9, 999,000, 900,000, 999 point, whatever. What are you doing with that? So I'm going to say your meme coin was 100,000 so I can do the math. What are you doing with the 900,000, the other 900,000? My thought is 50%, 50, a minimum of 50% in stables. And then I have to decide how much of Bitcoin and Ethereum is the rest going to be. It's going to be, is it going to be 40% Bitcoin and Ethereum? Now I got 10% in alts. What alts am I holding? Because I know it's going to go from a speculation market to a utility market. Maybe that's a way to look at it. But I know the strategy of just holding alts is not a winning strategy. And I just proved that preserving the wealth in Bitcoin and Ethereum is a winning strategy. Even if you get the Bitcoin and Ethereum at near all-time highs. So that's kind of like wealth preservation, right? 4 to 6.5x on Bitcoin and Ethereum over the years. And then you have your stables. And maybe the stables allow you to purchase the altcoins, right, in the bear market at these bottom prices so that you can do it again. This is what blockchain backer talks about with his Bitcoin, and how he's selling 65% of his Bitcoin and he's getting into altcoins, right? And then he says, I'm getting completely out of the market after the altcoin season. So he has 35% Bitcoin still, he just has. He's getting completely out of alts. So he has dollars, right? He has dollars, and he's got 35% Bitcoin. I don't know if he's doing Ethereum as well. And then when the market comes back around again, he's got dollars and he's got Bitcoin. And then the Bitcoin does its 4 to 5x. Now he's exited at roughly 4x because he's already roughly 4x. It might have been 6x for him, but it's roughly 4x. He exited 65% of that and he put it into alt. And he's just repeating it. It's the same thing as stable coins and Bitcoin and ETH as far as preservation. It's just about the same thing. It's some food for thought. I know this is something I've been thinking about big time because obviously we all know we can win, right? A lot of people, not just me, a lot of people had a big time win in EGLD, right? Tens and tens of $1,000s. A lot of people had a big time win in VeChain. But was it realized? Did you do like I did and put it back into alts, not understanding the market? And then 3.5 to 4 years of a bear market. And I think we all have to ask ourselves when we look in the mirror, do you remember looking at your blockfolio and it was multiple 6 figures, if not 7 figures? Do you remember that? And we have to ask ourselves, did we realize that? Did that end up in our lifestyle bank? Right? How many Bitcoin do we really have? It's proving to be the store of value and a wealth preservation. I just showed you the numbers. I just showed you 17.5 Bitcoin. And if you held it, you would be up 4x on that money. And Bitcoin's still not done yet. I just showed you Ethereum. I didn't, right? $600, 550. You'd be up 6x. But you would not be that way with Cardano, and you would not be that way with XRP. Would you be holding a great utility asset? Yep. But how's the lifestyle bank? I think that's just the thing that was the mistake, is getting off, at least for us in the crypto Siege's home, getting off the Bitcoin standard and becoming enamored with alt seasons and not having a good strategy to preserve the wealth. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Candy liquor, the candy liquor. What is your XRP price prediction for the next 3 months? I have no idea, bro. No idea. The real Big Will says, good food for thought. Thank you, my friend. Because look, we deserve it. And I think we just need a strategy. So I know that Simon Dixon and Benjamin Cohen they have good intentions, but they're not laying out a clear strategy, because they're talking to the 1% of 1% who have hundreds to thousands of Bitcoin. I know Simon Dixon. Hundreds to thousands of Bitcoin. They're talking to those people, and they're not talking to the 99% who don't have 3 Bitcoin or 100 Ethereum, maybe not even 32 Ethereum, where they can stake it. I know you can use other things like rocket fuel and some other stuff. You don't have to have 32 ETH, but you understand my point. Michael, you're welcome. It says, thanks for the insight. When I'm moving for nasty fiat, I will be thinking of this point of view. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. I'm glad it helps. Because this is it. If you listen to that Raul Paul video, he says we got about 6 years to make as much money as we humanly possibly can before they start changing this financial system around and the masses really come in to this space, and these numbers won't be the same. These gains won't be the same. 6 years, what do we get in 6 years? I mean, the alt season is if we get it, it's gonna kind of end around the fall of 2025. That's a year. And if we take another 3.5 years before the next alt season, it's kind of what I'm looking at it. So some food for thought. I hope it has been of value to you. I just want to kind of share it with you guys and kind of give you an idea of kind of where we're thinking. And the numbers kind of prove out. So to me, is leverage altcoins. It's finding out a way to get more dirty, nasty fiat as best as you can. And maybe you do still every week or two buy some Bitcoin. I don't know. But it's certainly, you don't have to pick one or the other. You could do both. But it's certainly leveraging alts to get the kind of gains that we all want. But then we got to figure out how we're going to fill our lifestyle bank. My portfolio has gone from 15,000 to 350,000. How am I leveraging that? How much is going to be in altcoins? How much is going to be into Bitcoin and Ethereum? FLR, as awesome as it is, Songbird, as awesome as they are they not still going to do the same thing that XRP and Cardano has done after the alt season is over? Are they not still going to do the same thing? XRP's all-time high price, $3.84, 60 cents today. So I feel like FLR and Songbird will have an all-time high of some sort, and then a few years later, it's not going to be the same, right? The wealth preservation is not in the alts. It's leveraging the alts, taking those gains, in my humble opinion, putting them into stables and into either Bitcoin and Ethereum or Bitcoin, whatever, so that you can maintain a measure of wealth. And you can have this money to leverage the bear markets for more alts and repeat that process. This is what it's looking like to me. This is feeling like the strategy. So we're not suffering through the bear market. We're excited about the bear market because we're taking gains from the previous bull to buy more alts and do it again, if that makes sense. Mule Shoe says, I think it depends on the adoption phase of the S curve. right? And so this is the thing. If we're still in speculation in the speculative market, we have to have a strategy for that market. And I think once we do get to that utility stage and tokenization kind of plays out, and then when tokenization plays out on a blockchain that you own the native asset of that blockchain, that becomes utility. That becomes a more of a utility thing, right? And think about it right now. BlackRock announced their tokenization thing, right? So did Fidelity with by way of ZK Sync and Maple Labs, right? Both of those announced today, right? What assets did well after that announcement today? Do you know? Real world assets. The cryptos, real world assets. Trade, which is Polytrade, Ondu, Finance. Let me share it. Let me share with you. Those are things that I share with you guys, right? A while ago. Let me show you Trade, which is Polytrade. This is an RWA play. Look at that. It's crazy. There's a little spike because of that BlackRock news. It's an RWA play. The thing with Maple Labs and ZK Sync, RWA play, tokenization of their reserves. Right? Look at the RWA play for the year, 1,765%. 14 days, 65%. 30 days, 59%. Let's take a look at this other RWA play. Ondu Finance. In 24 hours, it's up 43%. Now, we shared both of these with you guys when we talked about the RWA narratives. And we shared that these were ones that we could get. We could hold these. We couldn't participate on the platforms because we're being protected. Right? RWA play. Yeah, it got up to high 77 cents. Right? If you get both Fidelity and BlackRock, Signum tokenizes 50 million of Fidelity International Fund as Matter Labs, which is a thing behind ZK Sync, moves their reserves to the blockchain. 50 million. The move was part of ZK Sync's developer Matter Labs' long-term goal to move its treasury reserves to a blockchain. Signum Bank. So security tokens issued by Signum represents Matter Labs' investment in a Fidelity International money market fund. They just took their dollars, they tokenized them, they utilized Signum Bank to invest it in, put it on the blockchain, and they put it in this Fidelity International money market fund and put it on the blockchain. Tokenization of traditional assets is a growing phenomenon. And here's BlackRock. We all know about BlackRock. And BlackRock, all BlackRock did was just announce that they're applying for a freaking Form D. Right? BlackRock begins asset tokenization with the launch of the Digital Liquidity Fund. Right? And it's essentially just, you know, they apply to the SEC for Form D to get some exemptions on this fund. BlackRock's first tokenized asset fund. So some food for thought there. And this is kind of where we have to move into. And so we talked about this a lot on the channel, that the narrative, we said this a while back, that we believe that one of the narratives going into this bull run was going to be RWAs. And I hope some of you guys were able to get Centrifuge. I hope you were able to get Ondu. I hope some of you guys were able to get Ondu, maybe even Factor, right? It's called De Factor, that kind of leverage this play. It's going to be a big narrative, I believe, going forward. The candy liquor says, oh, we got how many candy liquors we got? D and then we got duh. That's interesting. Well, I just don't know. I expect all, let me give it to you a better answer, the candy liquor. I believe that altcoins will do anywhere between 5x to 20x their previous all-time high. That's the best I can give you. All right, fam, there it is. I gotta wrap it up. It's been a really, real cool hang on to get back to my college basketball stuff for sure. But I hope that made some sense to you, some food for thought. Wealth preservation. Interesting that he uses the phrase preserving the Satoshi valuation. Simon Dixon says, don't think in terms of the dollar amount, think about the number of Bitcoin that you hold. And he's trying to make it simple. It's kind of a simple way for preservation of the wealth. NC State, go pack. Oh my goodness, Michael Marquez. There you go, bro. So again, there it is. I hope it's some food for thought. Let me know in the comments if you guys did, pick up some undo like we suggested, or if you picked up some trade or some centrifuge or some defactor. Let me know in the comments if you guys did do that. I definitely would appreciate it. All right, I'm going to end the live stream now, guys. It's been a really, real cool hang. Muleshoe and Michael Marchese, I appreciate you guys checking in. And Duck Candy Liquor, I appreciate you guys checking in for sure. Pookie in the real big world, I appreciate you big time. Rafi, thanks so much for checking in tonight. Thank you again for always tagging me in those Twitter spaces for sure. I appreciate that. Big Buzz, I appreciate you checking in. And Daniel, I appreciate you guys being here. Think about it. Some food for thought, wealth preservation. Let's leverage these altcoins. Let's get excited about a new lifestyle bank, right? Because the digital asset space is going to be here, right? We're going to have a bear after this bull, and then we're going to have another bear. So we got to be prepared for it, right? All right, family. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to end this one like I do all my live streams and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this, perhaps ponder the idea or notion of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye.